Hello everyone, we are the FPL trio. I am Pulkit and I am joined by my co-hosts Daniel and Michael. Daniel, how's it going?
It's going great, Kid. Thanks for setting this up. Excited for a new shoot to start. One more video for the Defender of the Premiums. Let's get it. Michael, how are you?
Yeah, going well, thanks. Yes, can't wait to do the premium defenders. There's probably gonna be a lot to talk about this weekend.
All good. Basically, as Daniel and Michael already mentioned, this video is going to be about reviewing the premium defenders, which means the defenders who cost 6 million and above. This is part of a playlist where we are reviewing different players at different price ranges and different positions. We already reviewed the goalkeepers, cheap defenders, medium price defenders. So please go and check out those videos. If you are interested in those brackets, the links for those videos would be in the description. So now let's start with the premium defenders. So looking at the stats for the defenders who are 6 million and above, this is the table here. Since there's a lot, so let me try to explain what this table states. So the first 3 or 4 columns are basically self-explanatory, like the name, club, price, minutes basically showed the minutes they played in the last 23-24 season, along with the number of starts. Then current ownership is basically from FPL.team for 1%, top 1% managers. Then we have actual FPL points per 90, expected FPL points per 90 from the last season. Same for goals plus assists, so goal involvements per 90. We have the bonus points that these players got in the last season according to the old bonus point rules and the new bonus point rules. So all this calculation has been done by Peter from FPL.team, and this was also discussed in above average FPL. Then we have shots on target and fouls won stats, which are quite important for this new bonus point structure. Clean sheets that the teams got with these players in the team, the set pieces data, the and prediction. So these predictions are from different tools or websites like Fantasy Football Fix, Fantasy Football Scout, FPL.team, and Fantasy Hub. So what we have done over here is we have basically taken the predictions that these different websites did and finally calculated a median across those 3 different websites, and also some sort of uncertainty, which basically tells whether the websites agree or disagree on a certain prediction. So the more the websites agree, it's good for us because we can rely on those predictions then. And finally, the fixtures. So let's make a start with the players in there. Maybe coming to you, Michael, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so with these premium defenders, if you see the predictions for game week 1 to game week 4, and you can see that they're all in double digits compared to the mid or the cheaper defenders, where they were closer to the 10 or around that 8 to 10. So for me, it's going to be very hard to put more than maximum 2 premium defenders. But for me, I can't look away from the culprits like Trent Alexander-Arnold or the Arsenal defenders. And for me, the outlier is Virgil van Dijk. He's currently in my draft team. And the main reason why I go for Virgil van Dijk than anyone else is because he's always going to be in that Liverpool defense. If you have, say, a Man City player, there's going to be the Pep Roulette. If you have the Arsenal defenders, I think the first 4 game weeks, they are a little bit tough. When Wolverhampton, Aston Villa, Tottenham, they have the good forwards like Watkins, you have Cunha and Neto, and then you have Tottenham, of course, away, where you have so many good attackers in their team. So I think I would be going with Virgil and staying away from Arsenal defenders in the first 4 game weeks. How about you, Daniel?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I was also thinking about it. I mean, they have a high median score. I guess that's the reason why they're premiums. And they all have relatively low uncertainty, which is good, except for Trippier. So I would say that they are good to get. Personally, I don't have anyone right now, like any premium defenders. I would personally think I would rather go for more premium midfielders and forwards and maybe save a bit on defenders. But looking at those median scores, honestly, is making me doubt my strategy. Yeah, if we're talking specifically For the Arsenal defenders, I'm an Arsenal fan. I think they're gonna get clean sheets, but right now I have Raya on my team, so that's why I'm covering the Arsenal clean sheet potential. Which, if we can see here, they got 18 clean sheets last season, which is almost half the games, which is a crazy number. If every other game got a clean sheet, that's super good. But again, Benowit 6.5. I'm gonna say it's a bit, and we can even see that by the current ownership, which is 2.9%. So not a lot of people are liking the idea of spending 6.5 million on Ben White, even though I love the guy as an Arsenal fan. So yeah, as you said, Liverpool, they have good fixtures to start the season. That's something to consider. But personally, I think I might steer away from the premiums, but I would say I'm gonna say that early. If I were to choose, maybe I'd go for Guardiola in the City defense. What about you, Pookie? Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So basically, at the moment in my team, I have Guardiola, and I think it's more to do with how much I was hurt not owning Guardiola last season. But also, when you see him play, you basically know why you want him. He's almost always around the box. His stats show that he can be very attacking. And I think his early season stats from last season were not that good. And I think it's probably that he took some time to settle in that Man City team. And then basically, once he settled in, he was actually quite good. So Guardiola is at the moment in my team, but after we went through these collection of stats and basically discussed and so on, I'm considering Trent quite strongly.
At 7 million, he's expensive. I mean, he is worth it, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. And as you mentioned, I think also Michael mentioned that in the previous video that Guardiola, all his goals and assists came back during the last 4 or 5 games. He said, "Look, maybe this is why he's being really hyped up." But if he can continue that from the new season, if he can get consistent starts, he might be someone that, everyone would want to own. So he's also and he is also 55.9% on the 1%. And I'm sure they're good managers up there. So
Yeah.
there's a reason they have them.
Yeah, I think for a lot of the managers, it's because of this last season, end of the season sprint. And of course, when you see him play, you basically see how attacking he is. So he's and actually any of the players on this list now, we are into premium defenders. You can't say that not reasonable to go for that particular player or not. All of them are good options. It's just that you have to basically compromise and select one or two of them. I think for Trent, so basically, so far, my assumption was that last season was Trent didn't have a good season. Before that, he basically always had 200 plus FPL points. Last season, not that much, if I'm not wrong, and was also injured for parts, which is basically why he had only 25 stats out of 38. And also, Connor Bradley came in for him, and basically, no one could have envisioned that he would basically cover up for Trent so well. So, those were the reasons. But even in his not so good, if we look at it, out of the 10 stats that we basically tried to look at, Alexander Arnold did most of the premiums. So this was his not so good season. And with Slot, I have seen some of the preseason games with Liverpool. They are not playing that much attacking gung ho style like they played under Klopp. They are trying to go a bit more in the side of possession based play and trying to control the game a bit better. If Liverpool get more clean sheets than they did last season, and Trent with Slot system, I think he also likes his fullbacks to go ahead and attack. So Trent would most probably continue his attacking style of play. I think Trent is hard to ignore, even at 7 million, because we shouldn't really consider him with defenders as a comparison. I think we should compare him with what midfielders you are going for or giving up on if you go for Trent. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah. So for me, at the start of last season, I earned Trent from basically start to finish. I only saw him, I think, once or twice in the middle of the season. But apart from his injury, Trent would have gotten a lot more points if he didn't get injured for those 3, 4 games at the start of the season. Because I think he scored 9 or 10 in his first one of his first 3 games, and then clean sheet, and then he gets injured. So that's probably why 40 or close to 41% of the top 1% of players own Trent. But what I think is Virgil's probably the other Liverpool defender to own. And what I find interesting is that Trippier, if you look at his stats, it's so good, but only 1.8% of top
Yeah.
1% managers own him, and his median is at 10.9 for the whole of game week 1 to game week 4. So it seems that everyone is thinking they're not going to be attacking on Trippier's side anymore. They'll be using Burn more in the attacking focus. So I don't know if that's going to be correct. Maybe they're just looking at the price point. So Trippier might be one of those players where he's going to be a differential, even though he shouldn't be a differential. So he might be burning all of us again like last season, where he just had a blinder. Wow, what do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, no, I agree. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, stay away from Trippier." I think maybe that took a toll on me, so I'm staying away from Trippier. But as you said, he's always been a great FPL option, and I don't expect that to stop this season unless something like big happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he's, I guess, for the first few weeks at least, he's a watch and see. But just circling back on the Liverpool defenders, I want to ask you guys, Liverpool fans, Robertson, would you say he's naive? Because I mean, he has good stats and he's a million cheaper than Trent. I know he's not as attacking, but is he gonna get the minutes? I know he was injured for a long time last season, but what do you think for this season?
So, for me, actually, Robertson is pretty much nailed. I don't think Simicast is a better option than Robertson. I think Robertson is pretty much nailed, unless basically, at least for the part of the season where we don't have any congestion. And now with, I think there will be less double game weeks and so on. So probably, in my opinion, he's nailed. And then his numbers do look good. He could be a decent option. I just can't see past Trent if I'm going to the premium bracket already. So basically, he's a good option, but he doesn't cover Trent if you're basically trying to do that.
Yeah, definitely agree with bullshit there. Trent's the premier player to own, and just not for Liverpool, but like the premium defenders. But if with a new coach, there's probably going to be a lot more possession based in attack. If Trent does go more in that midfield, like defensive midfield to control the game, we can see more passes to possibly Robertson to the wings so he can cross it and then provide that assist. So I think it's a watch and see at the moment with Robertson. If we can see that style of play where Trent's not running down the wing to provide those crosses for assists, but rather long passes to Robertson or Salah to provide it, then Robertson might be a good choice game week 3, 4, 5 onwards.
I actually am also considering Trippier quite strongly. So if I don't think I would go with Trent and Trippier. Don't think I can afford to spend that much on the defense. But if I don't go for Trent, I think Trippier is close option. So I really like him as a differential option. We have seen what Trippier can do in the past. And I think what is putting people off Trippier is because they were part of last season. Trippier was actually responsible for some of the goals that Newcastle conceded. Because I don't know whether he was a bit lethargic at some point or basically he was not at his best. So maybe that's putting players off. For me, I thought his bonus point potential would go down a bit with this new rules and everything. But if we look at the old bonus and new bonus, it's 2 points lost over a season. Basically, maybe over a couple of games, he got a 2 instead of a 3 or something like that. So even his bonus looks good. And regarding the predicted points, I think why the median is so low is because if you see the uncertainty that is there in his predictions is 5 times the next option on this list here. So that's probably because the tools are not sure about his minutes. So with Trippier, it's like if he gets the minutes, he basically can get high score. If he doesn't get the minutes, then it's very low, which is why the uncertainty comes into the picture here.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and I know we're focusing on Trippier a lot, but just to add another thing, not just for Trippier, but I think for all Newcastle players. They don't have Champions League this upcoming season. So there's less strain on all players. And also, they don't, apparently, there's not going to be too many double game weeks. So, with those two things happening, Trippier, I know, is in his 30s, but he'll be able to gain more minutes, I think, in the long run, because there's going to be less games played over a 7-day period when before it was Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday in the more congested periods.
Yeah.
And so basically, enough talking about Newcastle.
Yeah.
We have the Arsenal defenders here. I think all of them are good options. I'm not sure why extra point 0.5 makes sense. It's just with the minutes for me that I'm a bit put off by Arsenal defense. But I do think so. Basically, currently in my team, I don't have any Arsenal defender. I had Raya for some time because he's the cheapest defender option that we can get for Arsenal. But I'm not sure if I want to spend that much for the goalkeeper. And also, especially when I know that he won't get any bonus most of the times. So that's what's putting me off. But it feels like something is wrong when I'm not going with a single defendant from a team who got so many clean sheets last season.
Yeah, just to add to that, last season I remember towards the end, if you didn't have at least two Arsenal defenders, you'd be on the red arrow.
That
as
was
they
me,
keep
don't
saying.
worry.
Yes, I mean, obviously, I doubt people are going to have two Arsenal defenders because they're so expensive. But like, I think one is a necessity because of, again, how good they are defensively. Unless you have maybe defenders like Bulkit that's going to get you points from somewhere else. But yeah, personally, I'm going to have at least one and at most one Arsenal defense, which is right now it's Raya because of the 0.5 million discount I can get from the other. But you were saying Ben White 6.5. I mean, if you look at his bonus points, it's a lot more than not a lot more. Sorry, it is more than Saliba and Gabriel, and also his goals and assists per 90 also is a lot more. I think it's that both of them combined makes up White. So maybe that's why he's 0.5 more. I don't think a lot of people are going to go for him, as I mentioned before, but he could be a good bearer of points.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe if you have to rank the three Arsenal defenders, because I think like it makes sense to go for at least one Arsenal defender because of the number of clean sheets that they can get. So if we have to rank the three Arsenal defenders like White, Gabriel, and Saliba, who would you do? Maybe Daniel?
Yeah, sure. I'll start it off. I'm gonna go Saliba for first over Gabriel, just because you can see he played 400 extra minutes over Gabriel. And I'm sure you guys remember at the beginning of last season, Gabriel was dropped for a few games, and that caused a lot of rage in the community. So I'm gonna go Saliba, and then honestly, it's close between White and Gabriel. I'm gonna edge out. I'm gonna say probably Ben White here, and he's not first because he is a 0.5 minutes. So I'm gonna go Saliba, White, Gabriel, even though I like all three, they're all pretty
Yeah,
close.
yeah.
That's my fun ranking. Michael, what's your thoughts on that? Do you change it? Is it the same?
So for me, it's purely on that 0.5 max difference. So I would put White last. I know he's fantastic. He's a good player, but when you're comparing the points that they received last season and the minutes they played, Gabriel Saliba is probably up there. That's going to be get similar points. So my top 1 and 2 is probably going to be Gabriel first and then Saliba second. Because for Gabriel, I think he's going to be able to score that 1 or 2 extra goals with set pieces and free kicks.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how much we are giving to the community by going all different because I think White does deserve that extra 0.5. Because if you look at his numbers, goal involvements, both expected and the actual ones, basically that's double of Gabriel and that's triple of Saliba. Then minutes are close to Saliba, 35 starts, 38 starts. His points also are much higher than Saliba and Gabriel. For me, it's most probably White as the option, but of course it depends on how your structure is. If you're going for 2 premiums or not, if you're going for 1 premium and so on. So
Yeah.
if I'd go for a 1 premium draft and I'm not going for Trent, it's most probably White. But to rank them, let's try to form some unanimous decision here. So maybe I'll put Gabriel up like Michael you did, simply because of his better numbers in terms of goals and assists and so on. I think he's more attacking in terms of goals. And I think this difference in terms of bonus points would reduce a bit with the new roles. Now, I'm not sure if the two of you are familiar with this analogy, but above average FPL uses this analogy of cat and dog type of defenders. So cat defenders are basically ones who play more technical, while the dog kind of defenders are ones who basically go on and charge and go win fouls and so on. So basically, Gabriel is the dog type of defender. He tries to win too many fouls, so, which can be seen from his number 34 compared to Saliba's 16. And shots also, he's taking more. So I think even the difference in bonus that we are seeing with Saliba and Gabriel, that would be diminished this season. So at same price, I definitely prefer Gabriel over Saliba. And just because of that extra price of 0.5, White goes then the last.
Yeah, I guess the predictions agree with both of you because Gabriel is the highest predicted from game week 1 to 4 amongst the Arsenal defenders. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, all right. But just to end this video, if you have to suggest two premium defenders from this list, maybe Daniel, to start with you.
Yeah, that's putting me in a tough spot. I'm gonna go with Guardiola for the first one, and then the second, I'm gonna go for an Arsenal defender. Give me Saliba.
All right. Michael?
For me, based on past stats and what I feel, Trent, so Virgil is probably first, and a close second. For me, it's a tie between Trent and Gabriel. I just separate those two for second.
Yeah, for me, maybe I'll borrow your differential tag, Michael, for some time. For me, the two are Trent and Trippier.
Nice. It's gonna be exciting overall. I mean, they're gonna get a lot of points according to the predictions. So let's wait and see. I'm excited to see how it all pans out.
All right. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and give us comments below. Thank you.